Meeting to order. Would you all please rise for the flag salute? It's very hot in here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm so excited to call roll and start with Tracy Rowe.
I'm here. I'm back.
We're so glad you're back. Carol Vickery. Here. Chair Mitchell is here. Parker Sigworth. Last meeting. I'm sad. I love it. All right. We will start with review, adjust, approve, agenda, and consent items.
I'd like to make a motion to move policy IKJ, artificial intelligence, to the July meeting.
Okay.
I second it.
Perfect. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, so with that, I'm going to call for a vote of approving the agenda with the adjustment of moving 6D to our July meeting. Okay. Tracy Rowe?
Aye.
Carol Vickery?
Aye.
And Chair Mitchell votes aye. All right, so first up on our agenda is budget hearing, proposed approved budget. So at this time, I'm going to open this up for any public testimony or comments. I do ask that anyone that wants to comment on the budget for the upcoming year does sign in on the sign-in sheet. Do we have any public or board comments? Let's start with board comments.
Oh, first.
Yeah.
All right, I noticed I wasn't here for last meetings on the budget meeting, and I wasn't entirely sure that I contributed. I wanted to point out that a lot of students, I want to break this. The staff, sorry, the staff who oversee the fire and drama department funding. I understand why we have to do this, but I want to really push as an member of drama and fire, doing it for all 4 years. Lots of my fondest memories and best friends with the program. That next year we really look at reinstating those programs. I don't know what that would look like. Maybe we hire a part-time staff member. Maybe we give students more autonomy. Maybe we need to have the class there. But I know that it's such a core part for a lot of students. I know many people who were part of those programs and said, that was what made me feel safe in Jefferson. It was what gave me community. These were the people that I went to for help and that I had fun with after school. As I said, I probably would not be here if it were not for the people that I met in drama and fire. And especially like the senior song that we did this year, which was pretty good, as well as the others. I got a scholarship through that program, which was pretty much essential to my college education. That was a huge push forward for me, only because of the fire and drama programs. I know there was even a student who said, because the program's cut, I feel like they're not listening to me very much. That was so essential to me. I would almost rather go to another school because they don't have that program in their school. I especially worry that if this program is being cut and if it isn't reinstated, it might open up the question, what else is going on? Is there something else that we're going, or more programs going to be cut because of this? And that was only a student concern. That next year, I really hope that the board and the district looks at reinstating those programs because they brought a lot of community and fun. I'm sure some of you might have attended some of the fire performances or some of the drama performances. And I don't necessarily know how much it was raised, but I know those were also fundraising for those programs.
Thank you so much for saying all of that, because I think that echoes across the whole community. I've seen a lot of comments that are really just the same as what you're saying. Not easy.
Well, I know that the district administration looks very intently and scrutinizes during the budget cycle process to try and maintain current level of services, from previous years. And I've got to be honest with you, Parker, I'm not happy either that, those programs have been cut. But when we're, at the end of the day, when we're facing the dollars through ADMW, and what the school district is allotted in funding, and couple that with students leaving for private or homeschool or going to other school districts, that keeps on impacting our financial bottom line. I'm hoping that within the confines of the district of the Jefferson School District, that community comes together and starts realizing that negative communication about what's going on at the district has also impacted the situation here. There's a multiple things that have caused this to come into play, and I feel very strongly that we try and reinstate these programs as soon as it can fiscally be able to be done. So very well, very good communication, and I appreciate your concerns in sharing that, and I know that you're representing your student population in doing so. So thank you for bringing that to this school board meeting.
And I think it's equally just as important letting students know that these programs haven't been forgotten about, that they will be reinstated when it is possible.
Yes, yes.
Do we have any other board comments?
Do we have any public testimony?
That's what I was coming to next. Do we have any public comments or testimony for the budget? We didn't have any signups. Jen, did we have anything emailed? All right, given that this is,
You guys speak up. It's it's hard for us to hear.
Yep.
I think microphone is fine, but it's hard for us to hear over
Yeah.
here. I don't know if the audience can hear you either.
okay,
Yeah, with the fans,
So,
yes.
yeah, fans
Okay.
and AC are competing.
so I think that takes us to our new business item, right?
Mhm.
All right, seeing that we have no more comment, that will move us to new business, section C. Letter A for adopt 2025 to 2026 budget via resolution 25.06.001. So this is an action item for the board to vote on the budget for next year. Do we have any other comments on this?
No.
No?
You want me to make a motion?
That would be great.
Okay. I move to accept the Jefferson School District 14J resolution number 25.06.001, adopting the budget, levying taxes, and making appropriations for the 2025-2026 fiscal year with a tax rate of 4.8468 per $1,000 of assessed value for the operating purposes in the general fund in the amount of $12,014,090 with 0 cents.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final comments? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Tracy Rowe,
Aye.
Carol Vickery,
Aye.
and Chair Mitchell votes aye. Okay, we're on to new business surplus property request. Dawn?
So you have in your packet a request from Kimberly Rhodes, principal at the elementary school. We had the state fire marshal coming through and do an inspection on page 283 of your packet. Before it. Come through and do an inspection, and a lot of our classrooms had outdoor light strands that were hanging from the ceilings, and the fire marshal made us take them down. And so Kimberly is asking if she can sell the outdoor light strands as surplus property because we can't use them inside the building. Some of them may be damaged. There's no way to, so that is what that is for in your packet.
May I? So the lights that are being requested to be removed, some may be damaged. What is going to be installed to take their place? And is this money that is going to be generated through sale of the district property, is that going to be used to purchase replacement lighting?
So they cannot hang any type of lighting like that from the ceilings. And what they were using them for was so that they could turn off some of the classroom lights and use those outdoor lights so that the fluorescent lights weren't as bright in the classroom. I guess is my assumption. Kimberly, is that correct?
So, yes, we can't use them, and it was for social, it was, for kind of to help with our students. The lights just are better than the overheads.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do is to use that money and put it back into that area for our students. I don't know if that's using some of it to purchase the little fabric covers that kind of help with these types of fluorescent bulbs. But if I could get a couple $100, that's a couple $100 that could go back into that program for our students.
Well, if we're going to be, my thoughts, again, these are just thoughts, and I'd have to put my eyes on it to really bring forth a recommendation. But if we're removing lighting, and it is not, then we do not have enough lighting. My hope is that we would improve the lighting.
Well, you have lights in the classroom. What they were doing is trying to not use the fluorescent lights in the classroom.
So basically they're not being used. The fire marshal says, hey, those have got to go. And by removing them, we're not compromising the lighting in the classrooms at all.
No.
Okay, good. That's bueno. Okay.
That's a
Right.
good idea with the fabric.
Yeah, but
I mean, the thought.
they make like covers that you could put on fluorescent lights to, not make them so bright.
Harsh.
There is a law that has been pushed out until 2030, I believe, where you can't use fluorescent lights anymore. At some point, we're gonna have to look at, how to replace all the fluorescent lights in schools with just LED lights or something
Whatever
like
they
that.
come up with next,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, there's no impact to the lighting in the classroom other than now they will have to use the fluorescent lights that are in there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put a motion so that further discussion can take place. So I'm going to move to approve the surplus property request from Jefferson Elementary School.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Put the money to good use.
Yep.
So,
All right. Seeing as we have no further comments, I will call for a vote. Tracy Rowe,
aye.
Carol Vickery,
Aye.
and Chair Mitchell votes aye. It's a happy day and a sad day. So
Yep.
that brings us to what?
Oh, there's the names that I'm seeing. I'm
I
kind
know.
of sad.
I'm sad.
I'm sad, but I also celebrate because
Yes.
I'm getting up there myself, and yeah.
So that brings us to JSD retirees. I'm going to read off the names of our 3 retirees that we have, and I'm hoping I don't butcher the one name. Dan Rideout, 2020 to 2025. And if you're present, if you could please stand and be recognized. Katrina Baranek, 2013 to 2025. And Kim Dryden, 2000 to 2025. What an accomplishment.
Hey, I salute you, girl.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
your
all
service.
Yes.
all of them. Just totally salute
Yeah.
you. Thank you for all your hard work, everything that you've committed in your lifetime
Yeah.
to this district. You won't be forgotten.
25. Wow. Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda is OSEA Collective Bargaining Agreement, MOU. This is an information action item. Dawn, do you have anything to say on this one?
The only thing that I will say is, we did have negotiations, for OSCA, which is our classified group. And it was just an opener for salary and benefits. And we were able to come to a tentative agreement in 1 3-hour meeting. So the MOU, that you have in your packet is, the tentative agreement. The OSCA union members voted on Thursday and they did ratify, unanimously. So I'm bringing it to you so that, asking for board approval.
Does anyone want to make a motion on this?
I move to approve the spring 2025 reopener of MOU between the Jefferson School District 14J and the Oregon School Employees Association, Jefferson Chapter 141.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
So as with any collective bargaining agreement or anything that takes place with respects to board, we have to have enough people so that votes can be approved. And I don't know how many people were required to vote in order to pass this out of all the particular members. So I'm just doing my due diligence to make sure that the majority was present for that, and to make sure that there wasn't nothing that went in a direction.
They don't share that information with me.
Okay,
They don't tell me how many union members were present, and how many were voted, and how many voted.
okay,
So they, OSCA runs their own voting. And I believe it's a majority vote. So yeah,
do you know if it's a majority that shows up to vote, or does anybody know?
my understanding is whoever votes, that it is a majority of whoever votes. So it's not necessarily a majority of the members. So if they have 20 members and only 5 people show up to vote, and all 5 vote, then it passes.
Okay,
So, yeah, they don't give me, I'm not privy to that information.
okay. All right, well, it appears that everything's in order with the exception of getting that question answered, so in totality, sorry. Sorry. I just want to make sure that politics, that we're running down the political avenue as it should be.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Yeah, they OSCA, they run their own, they have their process, so, I have no idea.
Is it possible to get to see their bylaws after this is ratified? It doesn't have to do it at this point in time, so that I can look through that to educate myself.
I can certainly check on it, see if we can get that.
Okay,
I always trust that, as the union, and they have their field rep, who is, kind of a bigwig in the OSCA field. I think she's the director, someone who runs it.
okay.
Ran all of this, so
Is the board okay with the district office emailing that to me, or emailing it to all of us for clarification? Because I can't tell just by myself that I want the district office to do that, so.
I don't have a concern.
do you all want a copy of it?
I don't think I
Okay.
I'm okay.
Okay. All right, I'll work on that for you, Tracy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No,
know, but I need to remember to speak up.
Speak up, Carol. Speak up. All right, seeing as we have no further discussion, I will call for a vote. Tracy Rowe,
Aye.
Carol Vickery,
Aye.
and Chair Mitchell votes aye. All right, next on our agenda is letter F, OSBA Summer Conference. You guys have an FAQ in your packet. The summer board conference will be held at the Salem Convention Center in downtown Salem from Friday, August 8th to Sunday, August 10th. Carol, I know you and I didn't go this last year, but we went the year before as new board members.
Right.
My recommendation would be that we invite our new board member to attend, because it was very informational. I do plan on attending this year as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anyone else present have any plans to attend? Dawn, you're planning on attending the entire event?
I don't usually go to the.
You don't go to the summer one? Okay,
I usually go to one in November.
okay, perfect. Jen, are you going?
I'm going to go to the winter one.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really want to spend this money,
Yeah,
but I do know that there is some good stuff in there, but I might also be able to find this information on OSBA, even though I know it's different and better to learn in person. But so give me a minute to think on that. When do we need to know?
I need to look at the date. I think we have till July 1st maybe to register for the registration prices.
Okay.
registration closes July 18th,
Okay,
correct?
okay. Okay, thank you. What about you?
I'm not willing to spend the money underneath our current budget cycle. All this information that's going to come from the summer board conference will be available at OSBA
Right.
for me to review or look at or re-educate myself or learn the differences, the
Yeah.
changes, things of that sort. So I'm going to opt out from it. I just don't want to spend the money, the district money for it.
I agree with you, but I am one of those people that learns, I gotta learn every way to actually absorb it, so I'll get back on it.
The money's in the budget.
Understood. It's hard for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's hard for me to spend that money, especially after we had to cut a couple of programs. So, yeah.
Thank you for this information.
All right. Okay, our next item is reports, financial reports for May.
I wanted to let you know what's going on in our finance department. This last couple months, we issued a check. That check ended up in Florida, but the address to that check was in South Carolina. We got a phone call from the bank that was receiving that check, and it was made out to a different person than he wrote it to. So we've had to close our checking account
Oh,
and
no.
open a new one. And Quad has worked with us. Our accounting specialist has taken the lead on it, and we've gotten a new account. We've closed the current, we closed the old one. We've gone an extra step to make sure that all checks, we get a copy of all checks that are written from our district office and make sure that they do match up with the copy that the bank gives us. So we are making sure the old checking account is closed down. So our choice was we're gonna start using positive pay, which will notify the bank that all checks written and all direct deposits or ACHs that will be taken out of the bank prior to us writing them and getting into the bank. So we've had quite a bit of extra work that we've had to change a lot of things as far as changing our account number. So it was one check, which we automatically, with Dawn's permission, closed out that account and created a new one, and the bank's been so gracious working with us. So, I just want to let you know the extra work that's been added to us because of deceitful people.
Are you able to expand on how this happened?
We don't know. The check was, we got a phone call that said, can you tell me who this check was written out to? Because this, I guess it was on the back of the check, it said ATM deposit. And we wouldn't disclose the information. The bank had to tell us who was on that check. Totally different name, written out to debit. Right? Software that we purchased for our audit. And then we reached out to the bank for fraud and took the steps, but we mailed it to South Carolina. It was at a bank in Florida.
Wow.
And they scratched off or they whited out, and our checks are blue. And so they whited out the name of the vendor and they put in their name. Just one check. We've had nothing come out of our bank. We're working with the fraud department, and we have to clear everything that's coming out. Any ACH, any debit that, like OEB and PERS, they come and pull the amount out of the bank. Well, we have to approve that by 10 a.m. in the morning, and if you're not on top of it, they won't approve it. So there's quite a bit of extra work and a little bit more training as far as positive pay, because it'll be a file to the bank with every check batch that we write. So, that's what we know. And so we do have a deductible on our insurance. We have to put in a claim with our insurance. And we have a deductible, and then anything above that deductible, we're hoping the bank gives us the money back because we are insured with the bank. So, it's pretty ugly. It's a lot of work. You gotta change OEB and PERS and your IRS payments, your state payments, any ACHs you have set up on the accounts payable side. An LGIP, because we transfer into because we have most of our money in the LGIP to gain interest. We have to transfer our money when we're ready to use it into so we have to change those accounts. So there's a lot of tentacles to changing your banks. And thank goodness we got a phone call from the other bank asking about it, because that's what triggered us to be able to investigate it. And then, the bank, they were right on top of it.
Yeah, thank God they were looking, doing their job and noticing their discrepancies.
Yeah, so we wanted just to disclose to you guys what's been going on in the finance department, and
Wow.
yeah, I'll be out.
That would be my least favorite thing to do at my house with my one little, situation there. I can't even imagine.
It's been quite a trip. All right, on to the financials.
Yes.
Thank you for the transparency.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. And thanks for Barbie, she's been really taking the lead on it and working with the bank and the fraud department, and so. Anyway, on to our financial statement. So I got a question from Terry. She emailed me, Chair Mitchell, in regards to Avid. We don't have Avid anymore, but we are going to keep the funds there in case that we do have it. But if we transfer it into a different account, it has to be by board approval. So you guys would be aware that we did that. And as far as our ending fund balance, we're at $1,025,000. We did budget in our 25-26 budget that our ending fund balance would be $1 million. So we still have a month to go to finish paying everything for 24-25. And so I'm really hoping that is around $1 million, which would keep us within our policy of 5 to 8% of our budget.
Okay.
Are you feeling pretty good about it?
Absolutely. We're
Okay.
very cautious of
Yeah,
what we're spending.
I know.
Dawn's monitoring all our expenditures, making sure that we're not charging on the credit card, because we've got to get that statement in for the first part of July, because we keep our year open at least 2 weeks into the new year, and to make sure that we get everything paid for in this year. So yeah, I'm comfortable with this. And we monitor this on a monthly basis, and we're feeling really good.
Good.
Are there any other questions for me?
I have none.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, you go right ahead, girl.
I was gonna ask, are there any other financial related matters we should be aware of, but you got that covered. I didn't
Oh, you're quite all right. You're quite all right. No, I just want to say thank you to you and Barbie for your professionalism, and your transparency, all that stuff.
Don as well, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was Don's call to close the bank account.
Yeah.
Instead of just going with positive pay, we went the extra mile to say, even though it's more work, let's just be really careful about this.
Well, it sounds to me like you guys have also put in some additional safeguards for the future, so.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's, goes without saying, you know, last thing that we want is to have our bank account depleted overnight, so,
Exactly.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gosh. You have a big job, and again, thank you again for your transparency and that we can be confident in your skills and your team. And thank you very much for that.
We do our very best.
Thank you, Patty. All right. Next up is superintendent update.
First thing that I want to share with you, that the Oregon lawmakers did vote to advance the bill which allocates $11.36 billion to the state school fund, which is really good, and it likely locks that number in. So that's a good thing. The increase is due in part to the governor's change to the way that the formula that they use to determine the current service level for schools. If they had continued to use the previous current service level funding formula, our conversation may be way different, because they would have started the conversation at 10.3 billion, which would not have been, we would have been in the world of hurt. So 11.36 is good. We're still waiting to hear about the funding for programs that are covered under the integrated guidance plan, and what that looks like. We have preliminary numbers, and we're hoping that those numbers stay, because that's how we budgeted with all the preliminary numbers. Do want to let you know that I did receive a notification this morning that our integrated guidance plan was accepted by the Oregon Department of Education.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that I thank all of our administrators, Scott, Katrina, Laura, and Kimberly, for working on that, and getting it written and getting it submitted for OEE. So that's a big deal. Wanted to also let you know that we will not be doing summer school this year. Jefferson was eligible for $104,000. We received $169,000 last summer. The timeline was very short. I believe we had like less than a week to come up with a plan, come up with staff. Our staff retired, and it's been a long year, and my administrators tried to get staff to do summer school, and they need a break. So there were a lot of strings that were attached to the summer school funding. Jefferson is not alone in not accepting the summer school funding. The other day I checked, there were 74 other districts that said your timelines were way too short for us to be able to put together a summer school program. There were too many strings attached, and school districts just couldn't pull it together.
Did they raise the reporting requirements? Did they add more red tape to it?
There's more red tape to it. There were less required hours. There were 80 hours required, but they added a literacy piece to it, and K-12, your summer school program had to be based on literacy and how you're going to prove that your students made an improvement in literacy during that 80-hour time period that you have them.
Okay.
So that was kind of thrown in at, the last minute at the legislative level, and districts are not happy. We're not happy about that piece. So, wanted to let you know that was the reason why we were not doing summer school.
Can I ask two questions,
Yes.
Dawn, about the summer school stuff? What, do we know kind of what the timeline was last year that we were given to kind of get a plan together? Was it substantially shorter this year, or?
I don't know what our timeline was last year. I think they probably had a couple of weeks.
Okay, so
the
quite a bit
timeline-
shorter.
The timeline is always so short, and superintendents have complained that if you're going to give summer school money and you want a summer school program to have an impact on students, then we need to know sooner than, a week before you expect us to submit
Absolutely.
an application. The application for accepting the funds was ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So the expectations, people were just not happy with all around. And we have voiced that concern many times over, that you've got to let us know
Mhm.
more in advance so that we can plan, get staffing. You want it to be a good program, an impactful program, then you need to give us time to plan.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. They have expectations, obviously.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Let's see. April and May, we didn't really have any reports at our May board meeting. I did participate in mock interview day at the high school. Gave me an opportunity to engage with our high school students. I interviewed 9 seniors, and I was thoroughly impressed with their interview skills and where they were heading after they graduated from high school. So, Laura, you and your team did a fantastic job of setting that up. I also went out to the 6th grade outdoor school at Twin Rocks Camp near Rockaway Beach. And it was awesome. It was so fun to see the kids in an area where it's not the classroom, but they're still learning. They were dissecting sharks, they were learning about different animals, they were out in the creek, and I even got to go ziplining with Chickley. So
I got a kick out of that. That's cool.
that was a lot of fun. I'm so thrilled that we're able to offer that program, although I did see this morning that they are cutting summer school funds by 20% next year.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what that means or what that looks like.
Summer school?
Not summer school, sorry, outdoor. school.
Outdoor school.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
They're cutting outdoor school funding by 20%.
yeah. All those
So-
schools are taking blow after blow.
Yeah. Finally, well, maybe not finally, but title programs, we have an update regarding funding for our various title programs. Usually we know in February
Mhm.
where we stand as far as the money that we're getting for title programs. We just found out at the end of May, our preliminary Title I funding is $234,977, which is about 2,200 less than what we received last year. So kind of sort of flat funding. We budgeted 226,796 because we were told to anticipate a 5% increase in title funding. So that is good news
Yeah.
for our title
Yeah.
funding. I still have not heard any news regarding Title II. Title III, I did hear on Title IV money on Friday, and it looks like we did about $17,000 for Title IV. We got a little over 16,000 this year, so a little bit of an increase in Title IV money.
Okay.
So I will keep you posted as soon as I hear about the other funding. What I did hear on Friday with the legislative update with COSA is that the president's budget for all of the different title programs that his budget does not include funding for Title III. And then finally, just wanted to thank you all for allowing me to serve the students and staff of Jefferson School District. It has been a crazy fun, I don't know, crazy and fun is probably the only words I can describe it, and a whirlwind type of year. And I really can't believe that my first year is coming to a close. I'm really excited about the upcoming school year, even with the finances being where they are. I will be taking some time off this summer, and I've included those dates in your packet just so you are aware of when I will be out of the office. You guys have any questions for me?
Statement. When you're on vacation, put your phone in airplane mode. Enjoy your vacation. So, as well as all the other staff. So.
It will be nice to get away, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well deserved too.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
My
Thank-
only question is, so I'm not entirely sure how granting titles works. Actually, it's just like here's a bunch of funds, money, and here's you're gonna fund all the things. Sorry, really unprofessional. If you don't get those funds, then what will happen to the programs? Because I noticed that the money was used to provide stipends for the home swap programs. If we don't get that money, what will happen?
Then we would have to find another way to fund those programs or staff or whatever it was we were using that title money for. We would have to find another way to fund it, and it would have to come out of the general fund, out of our regular budget. So that's why those title programs are so important. Title I especially, it funds mostly staff at the elementary school, and that is really focused on literacy and reading. So the loss of Title I funds, it's $230 something thousand that we would have to come up with out of our regular budget.
Dawn,
Good question.
you good, Parker? Right. Would you, I think she had said something about, she doesn't know where they come from, whether they're federal funds or state funds. Can you?
They're federal funds. They're federally funded programs, and they run through the Department of Education in Oregon, and then Oregon releases those funds to us.
All right.
I didn't hear the first part of your question. Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah.
You guys have any other questions for me?
I'm perfectly fine with the superintendent update. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. All right, administrator update. I believe, Kimberly, yours is first in our packet. Would you like to go first? Is that right? Yes. Okay.
That's probably better anyway, because I feel like you have some fancy stuff coming up.
Oh, I guess, sorry, Katrina's was first. My bad.
You having to dig through it?
No, sorry, I was reading the grades, so, sorry.
So, do you have any questions on the report that I shared with you first? And then I wanted to share something kind of fun and exciting.
I like fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Fun and exciting. Well, first, I want to thank our PTO group and our teaching staff and a lot of other people that have come beside us at school. It's been a pretty amazing year. It has been very team feeling in a lot of different ways. One of the groups that has came and volunteered for us a couple different times, two of the people there offered to come alongside us to get our Start Making a Reader program SMART back in our building, and we got approved. Our application was approved, so we're bringing them in, and I now have two coordinators that have offered to co-coordinate, and with them come, I think, a handful of volunteers to start with. So I think that we will be opening up start making a Reader Today program in the fall. We'll open up in around October to serve some of our students. It's a really great program. They get books as well as partners to read with, and they get to keep those books. By the end of the year, the hope is they'll come home, I think, with around 10 or 11 books as a reader. So have two people that are donating quite a bit of time because it's a weekly commitment. They have a large training piece on their side that happens, and then they trained their volunteers as well. So I'm really excited about it. It's something that used to be here at Jefferson before COVID, from what I hear. And I'm just really excited that they accepted us. I tried to get the program here in the fall, and they didn't have space for us. So that's kind of my fun, exciting part. I'm really excited about that.
Very good. It's wonderful.
Good.
And my first experience in a dunk tape with our PTO at Carnival. That was also exciting.
Was it cold? Was it freezing cold?
It was cold, and I think I was so unexpected, like I could not breathe. Someone filmed it. My face is hilarious. So it was actually it was fun. I think they got me 3 times, I believe. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Did
it
any
was
of the
fun.
board members volunteer for that at all?
We heard you were gonna.
Oh,
Well,
no.
we should have reached out to I'll tell the PTO to
Maybe
reach out
next
to you
year.
next year.
Maybe
Yeah,
next
that would be fun. That would be fun.
Yes.
And that's all I have for you, short and
I'm curious, Kimberly, with respects to the kindergarten registration, the roundup. How'd you think that all went?
So the experience was, I think, a lot of fun. We had the fire truck and the ambulance, and Melody brought the bus. And they all parked in the back. Our Latinx parent group kind of overlapped a little bit. We had some other groups there sharing as well, some community groups. We gave away some backpacks left over from your generosity in the fall. We gave away some free books. The ambulance, they were amazing. They had a fireman fully dressed. They put the kids on the gurney, got them up, put them inside. They hooked them up to the heart monitors. They closed the doors. It was really, I think, a neat experience for kids. The number was a little disappointing. I mean, not the number. I would have hoped for a little bigger number. I tried to do some research to find out what our norm was here in this district for our kindergarten registrations at this time, and just couldn't really wrap my hands around that number in Synergy or our past management systems. So I don't know what is typical. My personal past experience from up north a little bit, but still rural area, in the past, we would get kind of an influx in August. That was our typical. And then after COVID, post-COVID, we seem to not add as much afterwards. So I'm not really sure what to project here. I'm really hopeful that we will have some more kindergartners. We're going to be announcing our teacher for kindergarten. We have a small shift, and hopefully that'll create some excitement in our community too. So hopeful that we have some more students coming our way.
I too am hopeful.
Yeah, it's a low number right now.
Yeah.
Well, I would just like to say thank you for a fabulous first year with you. So I know there's been a lot of change in our district, but it's been great getting to know you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thanks.
Yes.
It's good to see you.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair Mitchells, and other members of the board. I've got a lot of positive stuff in here. I hope you take the time to read it, because at the end of the year, we do so much fun stuff. Sometimes I think we need to do, I'm not a great person for advertising what we do well, and I think we need to do better at that, because there's so many fun things we do. We talk, my day going out to outdoor school is, I think, the best day of the year, to see the kids having so much fun learning. And I really feel like for sixth graders, it sets a tone for them for their next 2 years. They bond together, they get to know each other. So it's really an awesome thing. And then the culmination, the Oaks Park trip for our 8th graders, that last week, that was fantastic as well. Promotion, our honor society induction last week too, just a lot of really positive things. So I'm not going to go through all of them. You can read about those. What I do want to say though is I want to make a special recognition. I was out for 9 weeks. That's a long time, a fourth of the school year. And so I know it was hard on my school. I know it was hard on my staff. And I just really want, I did this earlier today, but I want to thank Dawn. I want to thank Laura. I want to thank everybody here. Katrina, Doug. I mean, everybody came and helped out. Doug came over and helped work with discipline. Joe Whaley during his prep period helped out with discipline and working with citations. So Don took over some of my other responsibilities too. So I really, during that time of convalescence, I really could just be at home. I'm a person who has a hard time turning it off, but I knew there was nothing I could do. There was absolutely nothing I could do. So the only thing I felt bad about is I knew it was putting more burden on my colleagues. So I just want to thank them for all they did to support me and to support Jefferson Middle School. And we are a family, and my school is a family, and we got through it together by everybody helping each other out. So I'm glad to be here. I mean, I don't know if I'm really glad to be here on a hot evening, but I'd much rather be here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was so nice to see you back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing well.
Thank
I
you.
hope just get nothing but better.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start off with, we had 64 graduates this year so far, and there are just a few numbers for you. In speaking with Kim Dryden and Holly Ron, who meet with our seniors and find out what's happening after they leave our halls, we have 42 of those 64 who have confirmed some kind of post-secondary learning. That doesn't mean the others aren't. There's lots of, you're 18 years old, 17, you're still deciding, but we do have 42 students who have confirmed to go trade school, community college, or four-year college. We also had 4 athlete college signings this year, which was our first. Doug set that up, but it was really fun to have that experience. 12 of our 64 graduates did earn the Chemeketa Scholars, which is 2 years of tuition, books paid for. They may not have all have accepted it, but they all have it, which is amazing. And we had 17 honors diploma. So those are our students who take 4 years of language arts, and extra science, and extra math, and world language. And we actually had one student get the Ford Family Scholarship, which is essentially paying for their college career.
That's a big deal.
That's huge.
So very excited about that, and I'm very excited that graduation is over. We got through that, and it's all good. We had different goals this year at Jefferson High School, so I'm just going to go over 3 of those. One was college and career, the second was communication with families, and the third is 9th grade on track work. And so Dawn talked about the mock interviews. We had a college and career day, which our person who's retiring over there coordinated it and worked with Willamette Educational School District, the WSD. But we had all grade levels engaged in some kind of college and career on April 30th. And so we had all kinds of community partners, some from WESD, but others from this person back here calling and recruiting. We had our 9th graders go to Willamette Career Academy, but we also partnered with the WESD, and we had the virtual, what are those called? virtual headsets. And so they went there and then they came back and got to explore some other careers. We had our 10th grade get on campus with OSU. We need a longer time in the future, but they did that. And then our 11th grade, we had maps come in and it was called Bite of Reality. And Kim worked with the lead at MAPS, and it's a simulation. So it's visiting different tables and booths, paying bills, they try to sell you things. You have a budget, you have a career, you have a family given to you. And it was a really good day. Seniors, not all of them wanted to do the mock interviews. And in the senior feedback, it came across really like that was something that they remembered and that they felt was helpful. Same thing with the MAPS credit union, the Bite of Reality, just getting a taste of what it's like to be an adult. So one of our goals is to get all of our kids engaged. And so we have other activities throughout the year, but this was a big one. Our next goal was communication, and so Parent Square, we were trying that out. I don't have data to compare from last year, but you can see that Jerry Blumberg and I are the two that are sending out the most. We have some others, but these are anything from newsletters to senior letters to we're conducting a lockdown drill today, report cards, or just school updates. And you can see that seniors are the ones that have gotten most communication, and that's because they had class meetings, senior letters, and just scholarship, all of that information went through there. So we're going to continue looking to make sure that we're getting information out to our families and students. So that was one of our second goals. And then we had 76% of our ninth graders on track last year. And so in response to that, we have a ninth grade core team of teachers that give up a prep period, and we review data. We share information we learn about students through either themselves or parents. We have a kid talk protocol and we develop interventions, and then we have trainings at the WESD, which we're hoping to expand not just with this core group of teachers, but this is our first year out. We're also looking at partnering with 8th grade from that 8th to 9th grade transitioning and strengthening what we already have, because we do have a transition. And so just so you know, 9th grade on track came out of Chicago, and basically if our 9th graders aren't on track, meaning they have more than one F, they are less likely to graduate. And can you do that? So students who finish on track are 3 times more than likely to graduate than their off-track peers. And so we do a lot of reactive work with our seniors, and we will still and are still doing that, but moving that focus to get them really strong skills and support system and just support in general. We're hoping that we have more students who are on track and are 3 times more likely. Because if you do have an F, 9th grade is where you fail the most. And that makes sense, coming from 8th grade to 9th, brand new. And so putting some extra focus on that can help students prepare. And then next year, we're continuing our focus on 9th grade and communication, but our main 2 goals next year are going to be 9th grade, that continuation, and then attendance. Because if we can get more kids in, we have more opportunity to support them. And so that's my report.
Thank you. The communication, I just want to say that it was so helpful for me to get the Parent Square notifications. I read them every day that I get them, and it's so informative, and just there's things I forget about or things I didn't know about that I get to attend because of it. So just sharing that from my perspective, not having kids in the district, I actually know what's happening. So thank you for going above and beyond on that.
I'd like to say to high school and the middle school students that graduated. I want to congratulate all of them. I have never missed one graduation, but I was clearly on my way to convalescing, and I had some situations take place that caused me to go backwards, and I'm deeply sorry that I was not able to attend. But I want to thank all of our principals for the excellent work that you guys put in. Scott, I am really glad to see you. I really glad to see you. It's good that you're back. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. All right. Trina, do you want to go next?
Like I told you at the last time I presented at a board meeting, there's a lot of things that I could present on. So today I picked the talented and gifted update. And then we can go through at the end and you guys can ask me any questions about my board report that you'd like to know. So first of all, talented and gifted, what is it? Some people just don't even know. These are students that demonstrate really outstanding abilities in any number of things. So kids can be gifted and talented in either their general intellectual ability, their academics, that could be reading, writing, math. It can be creative things like art, dance, music. There are a lot of avenues to be identified in our talented and gifted programs in Jefferson, including leadership, which that's, you know, there's just a lot of avenues to be able to be identified and talented and gifted. And I wanted to bring that to the front of the board's attention because not a lot of people know about it and not a lot of people understand the metrics to be talented and gifted. So tag services, talented and gifted is a requirement from the Oregon Department of Education. It's something that we're required to do. So we are required to put funding into this program. We're required to keep it up. There is a talented and gifted plan on our Jefferson website that you can go through and look and see everything that we do. But these are some of the services that we have. We are advancing students in grade level classes. So for example, if you were an 8th grader and you were incredibly talented and gifted in math, you might be taking a sophomore class. We have opportunities to take college credit. Laura's gotten a lot of kids college credit. And that's not just for talented and gifted identified students, by the way. There are other ways to get college level credits. There's ability grouping, extracurricular activities, independent studies, differentiated instruction is probably the largest one that we do in Jefferson, which means that sometimes like in math, I'm a math person, so I'm probably going to talk more about math, but in math, if you're talented and gifted, your teacher might teach you a little bit more in depth or more in understanding, and you might get kind of a different level of work than all of your peers in order to get your understanding above the rest of the class. So identifying students, anyone can refer a student for evaluation for a tag. Parents can refer, a student can even refer themselves, which I've never had happen yet, but that can happen. All second graders in our district take the Naglieri nonverbal ability test. 5 additional students were recommended for testing by referral this year. So in other words, all second graders took the test, but we also had 5 other students not in second grade tested as well, for a total of 52 students this year. Go ahead. And 7 of the 52 tested with the Naglieri non-verbal aptitude test scored at or above the 85th percentile. So when you think of the bell curve, the 85th percentile is kind of that corner mark, you know, that drops down. It's those kiddos. We had 7 that resulted in being tag candidates from testing, which is really actually great. That's just one piece of information that we use for tag referral and testing. And there's currently 12 students that are identified and on tag plans in Jefferson. What questions do you have for me?
How exciting. I've always been curious about the tag program, and wondered a lot more about it than neither my mentor in the tag program, but thank you for bringing this and talking a little bit about it.
Yeah.
One of the things I like, and I've brought it up a couple times this year, is seeing the tuition being paid for on the budget reports and how important that is for our district, and that the students take advantage of that. You know,
absolutely.
doing the testing and doing that. I love learning more about this and seeing where our students are at. I'm so grateful that you chose to bring this for your topic.
Thanks, Katrina. Just keep doing what you're doing, because without this is an essential program, because there are kids that are a little more advanced than others, and I'm glad that we have a mechanism in place to be able to identify that so that we can help them to be more successful. So your job is critical as far as I'm concerned. And I thank you for taking this job very seriously and doing what you do. So, yeah.
Parker, did you have someone?
I did. What is the program with this with the non-verbal testing? I haven't heard of it.
Naglieri nonverbal aptitude test. So that is, no, so it's on a computer actually, and we can test from 2nd to 12th grade. So it's like basically like give you like, it's thinking and skills and problem solving for like your age and grade level. So like you would get something completely obviously different than a 2nd grader, but it's like that problem solving and thinking and abilities. So it's not like necessarily can they do reading, writing, math check, right? Because that is a trained thing. It's like how do their brains work?
Right.
So
Interesting.
I only asked, I have a few questions because I was part of the tag program for many years. How do I phrase it? Do you continue to test for tag at higher levels, like?
we had a
if there
10th
was
grader
6th
testing.
grader who did it, or if there was a 2nd grader who did it and they became a 6th grader and they, that's kind of way to say it, but like decreased their cognitive levels to qualify for tag. You know, how does that?
They increased. So we had a 10th grader test this year. So we do continue testing. Anybody can be referred for tag, and anyone can actually even refer themselves for tag. So just because you don't like, that's one matrix, the nonverbal ability test, it's just one. So in other words, like, you can also be what they call dually identified, so special education plus tag. A student in special education, they might not do wonderfully in that type of test, but that's just one identifier. The other identifier, by the way, our district uses pretty heavily is the Smarter Balance assessments. That's a standardized assessment that can be used in conjunction with the Naglieri to see if a student would be in the upper quartiles for tag. And tag is like, it's not just I want to be in the talented gifted. It's like, are you meeting standardized metrics in order to meet talented gifted based upon Jefferson's plan? And that's another metric. Yeah, IXL would be another metric that we could use. Any other questions?
Good questions as always, Parker. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, board members, superintendent. Start off by saying I'm going to try to make this short because had some seniors that let me know I talk too long, so I'm going to do the best I can to get through this. We had a really good spring sports season. We did. We had some difficulties, but we worked through quite a bit of them. I think the softball team would be one that we could look at as one that had some difficulties, but managed to work through it, kept their good attitudes. We were in an incredibly tough conference in softball. Our top 3 teams were in the semifinals. Top 2 teams were in the championship game. So And with a team with some inexperienced players, we only had one coming back that had any experience with high school softball. You can imagine kind of the learning curve that we had to go through. But I did want to mention senior Peyton Lynn Baldwin received honorable mention outfield, and freshman Tylee Reed received honorable mention infield. And we did not have to put them on the honorable mention. The coaches recognized them through their votes for that. Baseball team, we completed a JV season with 14 games. We've developed some pitching. Still need to develop some pitching. And some of the players are taking advantage of some opportunities to play Legion ball. One cool thing about Jefferson is we are ideally located. So R9, which is one of the top traveling teams around, Lynn Benton is redoing their entire baseball field with turf. They have nowhere to practice. So we were the first ones they called because we're right here in the middle of the valley where all of their players can easily meet. So our kids are going to get the opportunity to practice with that team, and they will be able to try out in August.
That's awesome.
For the team.
Wonderful.
So any of our players, all they have to do is email the coach and say, hey, I'm a Jefferson kid, I'm coming to practice, and they get to have a great experience practicing just with that team. And then the coaches will be able to see them as they're going through that development and be able to give them a tryout in August. Track and field, we had 2 members of the track team make it to the state. Aaliyah Saad made it in the 100-meter hurdles and the 300-meter hurdles. Those were major PRs at the district meet. So she stepped up big time at that meet, and she just missed finals in both of those within a second. I mean, half second. I mean, I think she finished 9th in the 300 hurdles, which she was the first one out, I think, in the finals of the 300. So really good for a freshman. And then Andrew Kina finished 2nd in the javelin with a PR throw. And then I believe he PR'd in the high jump too there, went 6'2". And then finished 5th in the high jump at the state meet. And was just off the podium, finished 9th in javelin. So he needed to go 3 more inches and he would have been an 8th. So he did really well. I did want to mention some of the firsts that we have. First win, 25 games for our football team. First completed JV soccer season in many years. JV boys basketball, we completed a whole season since COVID. First trip to the state tournaments for the girls basketball team in 35 years. First state trophy for the girls basketball team in school history. First sportsmanship trophy at a state basketball tournament in school history. Cheer team got their first OCCA championship in school history. First baseball season started and completed in 4 years. First cheerleader to cheer at the Oregon Shrine game. That's Brielle Kay. She will be doing that in August. And like Laura mentioned, our first 4 athletes that signed letters of intent to play college. Gretchen Orton's going to go play at Lane Community College. Andrew Kina is going to do track and field at Corbin. They're going to turn him into a decathlete. Brielle is going to do cheerleading at Western Oregon. And Lily Tegner is going to play beach volleyball at Corbin. So we had a lot of good things happen this year. Before we get to the track stadium field update, I did want to mention every year I let the coaches vote for who they think is the coach of the year in our entire program and who they think the assistant coach of the year is for our entire Jefferson Athletics program. I only do tiebreaker votes. In 3 years, I've never had to do a tiebreaker vote, and that was the same this year. So our head coach of the year is Amber Houghton from cheer, and then our assistant coach of the year was Lacey Well from the girls basketball team. The JHS Booster Club auction brought in $18,000. 4,200 of that is going to our basketball raising system in the gym. We need to change that for safety reasons. The venue at the Knife River Dome we are going to keep, and we're looking forward to working with them in years to come. Great facility. Think we're going to work on marketing on that, and kind of like Laura did, our goals for next year. I have 2 of them, and they're more community based than anything. What I'm seeing right now is I have kids that are bought in. The kids who are playing sports for us right now are bought into how we do things. Our parents right now, I feel, are bought into how we do things. If you look at attendance at our awards desserts, I have parents that come up to me that say, this is exactly how we want to do our awards, because we want to see what every sports team is doing. We want to hear what other coaches are doing, and how the other kids are experiencing some of the other sports. So we have a good mesh right now. Our coaches have bought in to what we're doing. So last step is that community part. And it kind of started a little bit at the auction. As I was walking around, I had some people who I've never met before. And if you ask me who they are, I have no idea. But they came at me and said, "You're the athletic director." And I said, "Yeah." They said, we're not hearing enough about what's going on. We just heard there's 4 kids that signed for college. I mean, there's some good things happening there. So, next year, kind of like Laura had with the parent squares, where there's some other people. One of those some other people is me. I had a few parent squares on there. That's going to change next year. There's going to be a daily Facebook, a daily parent square that comes from the athletic department saying, hey, get ready for our first game. Our next game is here. Awards dessert is here. So I want to be able to start getting that word out about what's happening with our programs. I think that is a huge piece that we're missing right now. And the seniors let me know that in their evaluation of the athletic department, because I did allow them an avenue to let me know what I needed to work on from their sense. That was one thing that came up. I'm also looking for other ways to engage the community. So that might mean, obviously with finding out about our sit team, finding out about some other things that are going on in the community. I'll probably be attending some meetings, just so we could start getting the word out about what's happening here, because there is a lot of cool things happening. And the hope is that we can continue that. Yes, we have kind of hit, a little bit of rough patch because the funding and all that, but I think we can get through that. And really start making this athletic department what it can be. So, so that's my report on athletics. Do you have any questions about that before we get to the quick track stadium field update?
Thank you for sharing all the firsts. That was so
Yeah.
exciting to read when I got the packet. So I loved seeing that.
Yeah.
What a great list.
Thank you for your commitment to this, Doug. This, the things that are going on with respects to our athletic program and other things which you are still going to be involved in. I can only imagine that you dream about this stuff at night when you're sleeping well, and when you wake up, you're like, an aha moment comes along. So it's pretty evident to me that you've got both feet into this, and our students and our community is very, as far as I'm concerned, is very lucky to have you as committed as you are. towards this. So from the school board, we all want to say thank you.
My wife does have to remind me that, you know, you can turn that off every now and then.
Yeah.
Because usually the mind is working on that when I probably should be doing something like mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it's been fun. I really wanted to do this job, so when I got it, I was super excited about it, and I haven't lost that yet. So I'm looking forward to year 4.
One thing that can be appreciated about you, and probably why you're so good at your job, is that you are very friendly and approachable to students. I never did sports very much. I had studies and other things to worry about. And I don't know you terribly well, but it was always in the halls. It was always friendly, sort of exchanging. I've seen you interact with a lot of students, and they're like, hey, you know, I really like this guy. I might consider doing sports next year. I'm like, you should ask Novel. I'm like, oh, yeah, I asked him a little bit. He told me all the stuff. I think I might try it.
Yeah, Parker, you scare me a little bit. I'm afraid you're going to ask me a question that I'm not going to know the answer to. So the intimidation factor works really well for you.
I stared at the kid so hard, he's kind of looking at me like weird.
I feel like I am. Keep it that way.
So, track stadium field update. I managed, I've been talking with Dennis Tower, who's been doing our drawings for us. He's doing these free of charge. I really appreciate him. I'm going to bring him to a board meeting one of these times so you can just at least say hi to him.
Please.
So we have 3 drawings right now of the complex we could have. The first one you've seen before. It is basically putting the stadium and track right where it is right now. Can you guys bring up number 2, please? So number 2, if you notice, this is parallel to the pool. So the pool is going to be to the right, where that blue area is. Softball field / JV or middle school baseball field has been removed. And then our extra area, that extra land beyond the fence, that's kind of where our field areas will be. We can set up, and we didn't really, he just kind of placeholdered them in places. I haven't been able to meet with my crew to figure out exactly where we'd want those to go. But you see the pole vault pit down there. There's a shot put pit. There's a discus ring, I believe, and then we would have the long jump, triple jump. Those would be, and the high jump. Those would all be in those purple areas, just off the football field. Lights will go right along the edge, probably right where that fence is right now, just right out here. And then we would have the stadium that is facing away from the evening sun. So it'd be facing east.
Okay.
So that is what option 2 is right now. And then we also have option 3. And what this one is basically you can walk out of the locker rooms and or the boys' locker room, and you are right there. This land is mainly used, we don't really use a whole lot of it for different things. I think our cross-country crew uses it for part of their course, and then it's used for PE purposes. I think this one, we need to actually turn the, we need to put the stands on the other side, so that way they're not facing the sun, unless we want to do that. And then those placeholders for, discus, shot, high jump, all that kind of stuff, we can maneuver those around as we need to. But those little softball fields that we have there that Parks and Rec use are not there. So this would be right outside the outfield fence of the baseball stadium. And then they've added a concrete kind of the little mini road or walkway, whatever you wanted to do, whatever you want to call it, for walking out there to kind of make it a little easier for people to walk out instead of walking across grass. So those are our two other options. Option 2, option 3, the area where the track and stadium are now, we would tear up the track, tear up the stadium, and those would become practice areas for our soccer and football teams. That is our plan right now, unless we have a different idea that comes from there. So, with that being said, we're ready to take this to the community
Yes.
when we're ready. So what we need, what I'm ready for, is some community feedback on what they see as the pros and cons to each of these.
Right.
I have heard some pros and cons. What does parking look like? How far do we have to walk to find, especially the one down by the pool, long walk if you're on the high school side, not as long a walk if you're on the middle school side. Do we need to add parking? So some thoughts there for you to kind of ponder. Both of these, number 2 and 3, do use the land that is across the fence. So, so our idea of kind of, selling that off, if we use 2 or 3, we may not be able to do that. So, that's kind of what it looks like. Did want to let you know too, right now we are planning a fall sports kickoff day for Saturday, August 23rd. And what that will entail, we're actually going to do a 5K run walk in the morning. We'll have some soccer competitive kind of stuff. I think the soccer team's planning on doing like a come see if you can beat the starting goaltender or something like that with a penalty shot. You pay $1 or $2 and do that. Or they might do some sort of alumni game. They might even do a Cross Hill versus Jefferson inter-squad scrimmage. We have kind of Kids Day is kind of planned there with some different crafts and things like that. The JES PTC, the JMS PTC, the Booster Club, and the Athletic Department are all venturing in on this because every kid in this district is going to be affected by this program. So we would try to get everybody involved with it. And then we'll end the night with a football 7-on-7 game, kind of what we've done the last couple of years, where the community can come out. We'll have a flag football game. Football team will be on the other side. There'll be food trucks. So we're planning kind of a big thing to kick off not only the fall sports season, but the fundraising for this. So kind of something for everybody to think about, kind of mark on their calendars. This will be part of that Facebook posting and Parent Square, make sure that gets out. Really looking forward to getting started with this. I think this will be a good start for our community before I go out and look for, deep pockets, if you will. We need to settle on this plan that we want to go out with, because what I don't want to do is say, well, it could be one of these 3 that we're doing. We're going to have to settle on one or the other.
Yeah.
Before I look to go out and and before the track committee looks to go out and find some of those, maybe corporate sponsors or something like that we can kind of bring in for that. So,
Just one observation, Doug, if I
Right.
might.
Sure.
Before it goes out to the community, I know that, our little kids, they, have their, baseball, that they play along with soccer, things of that sort. I didn't notice on either Plan 2 or Plan 3, those areas might want to be highlighted as possibilities so that the community can see that this isn't just going to benefit the high school and the middle school, but it's also going to benefit the youth for Parks and Recreation.
right. And one of our thoughts is that we would move those, if we get number 3 here, we can move some of those fields behind the middle school. So, and put some really nice, fields back there. Obviously, that's part of the cost as well. But this, there's been a lot of thought put into kind of all this stuff, and I need to make sure that the community at least has the most, at least where we're going with it. Trying to get everybody to understand where our thought process was with this.
I'm so excited about this. I've been thinking about it since our last meeting, that let's do it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
So yeah, we're still, I think, I was thinking about this since our last meeting of where are we at? We needed to have a year where we built some relationships with people to at least get us to this point, and then it took us a year to get to this point. We've already started reaching out to some people so we can get some help with some of the things. So I don't think we're off base by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think we're a year behind from the time that we started. I think we're right on track. I just think that, and I would love to have the school board there as well, so you guys can hear what the community has. And then after the community forum, we would come back and meet and settle on, with my track committee as well, kind of where we're going with it. So I'm more than willing to, just as long as you don't schedule it on one of my vacations, I'm more than willing to, whenever you guys want to do the community forum, you let me know.
I would say fit it into your schedule, and I believe that every school board member that is sitting up here will attend that. So you establish the date, Doug, and we'll be there.
Okay. I did want to give your new person some time to come on so we can kind of update them on kind of where we're at with this, because obviously coming into a new position, I don't want them to get hit by the fire hose. They may not know kind of where we're coming from on this. So, August is probably where I'm at right now.
Okay.
If we want to wait till September, we can do that as well, because most people will be back from vacations as well. I don't think that cuts into our timeline at all. My biggest thing is by 2026, I want to have a working plan that we can move forward with and go see what we can get.
My only thought would just be after the summer vacations. Yeah. So September might be a better for families.
Yep.
Because I would like to have as much community there as possible.
Yeah.
I would. And I would think, probably the event center is probably where we'd want to do this. I can get some, Dennis told me he can actually do some print offs, so that way we can have the kind of the big cardboard stuff that we can put up. Maybe we can put it down at City Hall, something like that, just to get people talking.
Yeah, we need to
And
accept
that's what I want. I want people talking about it, because we need to know how people see the, what the pros and cons of this are. So that's where I'm at.
Tell
Well,
Dennis, thank you.
Yeah.
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 I have been striking out all day with my calendar with stuff every weekend. This is the first thing that's been given to me today that I have nothing that weekend and it's on my calendar. I'm
23rd.
So excited.
August 23rd.
Yep.
And yeah, so we have a meeting tomorrow night. So we're gonna kind of go through it and kind of get everything planned out and go from there.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Excited.
Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Right. Next up is comments from the audience. I didn't see we had anybody signed up.
Do we have any submitted comments?
Did we have any old business? I skipped over that, sorry. No? Okay. Board comments. Tracy.
Got a new hip, feel a lot better. Glad to be back. I am sad that we had to make some cuts, but it was almost like it was forecasted out there with things that have been going on. It was almost to a point with me that we were going to have to run into something like that, and I've been really concerned about that. I'm concerned about. I'm excited about Jefferson and the accomplishments, but I'm also concerned about the declining enrollment that's going on and continues to go on, and trying to figure out how to curb that. How to change that that dynamic that is going on, and I don't know how to accomplish that. I don't know how to accomplish that other than by saying that with respects to COVID, I think everything started going downhill as a result of that. Having our kids stay home, they weren't able to commingle, and parents had to find alternatives so that they could keep their kids educated. And I don't blame parents for making decisions on homeschooling or sending their kids to private school, but there is a benefit to public school. There's a big benefit to public school with respects to social interaction, competition, a variety of things. And I don't know how we can get that turned around. I guess I'm asking how I can support the administrators, the school staff, any suggestions that you may have for me as a school board member on what you think I can be doing to better change that. There's been good comments on Facebook and there's been bad comments on Facebook. A lot of the bad comments on Facebook that I've seen are I understand when people are upset about something, but I also understand when I see through some of those negative comments that the whole truth about something is it's not there. I'm not a big fan of social media and the way it's being used today. So I've chosen myself to step away from that. And I don't know if that's a good idea for me to do that or if that's a bad idea. Do I need to engage? Similar to Fred Sondermeyer, he was amazing at it, and I've seen both girls do that too. But I also see backlash that comes back at them over that. And I'm worried. I'm literally worried about the future of Jefferson School District and the direction that it's headed right now. I've had this thought for, I've been watching the decline for 3 years, and I've been not wanting to say anything, you know, because I didn't want to raise up any alarms. I am definitely worried for this school district and its future. So if there's people out there in the community that are listening tonight and they want to contact me directly, you certainly can. My phone number is, I believe it's listed on the website. I don't remember for sure, but my email address is listed on the website, and I will put my phone number out there. If you want to contact me, it's 503-932-5292. I would love to hear from you and help you, or maybe it's going to help me. So with that, I'm very proud of this school district and what's taken place this last year. Our new superintendent, Doug, his vision, Scott's back. You guys are amazing at everything that you do. I mean, I'm getting the chills. Just, I love you guys. You know, without you, it wouldn't be good here. And I appreciate all of you so much. Our transportation, the city of Jefferson representing themselves here with Bob. Bob is consistently here, and he's on the council. You know, there's just a lot of great things about Jefferson, and I wish that more people would get plugged in and have good face-to-face conversations and not be afraid about hurting somebody's feelings. You know, you got to stand in the forefront. You can't be in the shadows. If you want change, you have to be in the forefront. You have to be present. And I've been present as a school board member now for 12 years. And thank you, Jefferson, that you have put your trust in me to be a school board member for another 4 years. I take this position seriously. And I love this community. And I love all of our kids, and I love all of our employees and staff. So thank you for giving me the opportunity at being a school board member for an additional 4 years. That's it.
Vote for Tracy.
Yeah. How do you follow that? I share a lot of those same feelings, and I'm just so excited about all the talk about what's coming in Jefferson and stuff. But it is, you know, there's been a lot of hard things to swallow this year and last year a little too, and I just hope we don't, as a community, lose momentum and forget about the good things, and, you know, but I do also appreciate you, and I'm so thankful to have you here and all of your guys' hard work, and I just hope we can bring this back around.
Everyone's dying to get out of here. I wrote a couple of things down. I just want to run through them real quick. I was able to attend some graduations and promotions this week. It was sensational. Cannot thank our tech team enough for the setup. Our facilities team, our EBS or custodial crew, they were ran really well. Very exciting to go. So thank you for having me at those. I'm actually looking forward to the elementary school one tomorrow. So hopefully that's okay. Planning on attending that one. And then the only other thing that I just wanted to make sure that I touched on was gratitude for Melody. So we skip over the first student one. It's a consent agenda item. I read it every month. I read your report. The end of the year, there's a lot going on. So we have field trips. We have the after grad night party. We have the Oaks Park trip, you know, the day-to-day. There's been a lot going on this year, and just super grateful for how wonderful you've been being a liaison for us. So, all right. With that, if there's no other board comments, we'll go ahead and adjourn at 7:14.